this is the person that the voice you are going to listen to is the voice of this our brother, and he contacted me to share his true life story with me. I want us to listen to what he shared with me. The name of our brother is Rav Maxwell. This brother here is Rav Maxwell. So the voice you are going to listen to, she said, because I didn't know, he is a follower of this program, and he decided to share his own experience to edify the body of Christ and to encourage others that not to go into all this, that it is vanity upon vanity. But listen to
the pastor of one of the churches, and I went to the college as well.
Okay.
Though my parents actually coming from the background of this white Catholic church, Cherubim and Seraphim.
Okay.
That was where I was born and raised.
Okay.
So, okay, I grew up.
You grew up in the church
where I didn't know what being born again was all about.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know what born again was all about. So when I joined the Bible college, so I was having that mindset I was going to meet angels in human forms, so I actually, that was where I started feel like, okay, I could fear God. I got to that environment, I feel like it was going to be environment for holy people and all of those stuff where everything is going to be done.
Can you help me share this program? Let people listen. This is a true life experience, and it's not just true life experience. It's not just talking. It's with documentary, with videos, with photos, for so many of us to understand that this thing actually happened. So share this video, invite others. We need to learn. When we talk about this ritual and occultic thing, some of you think it is a joke. So many churches in Nigeria, they are like that. Some of them, they bury so many things under it. All these big churches that you are seeing, some of them are like that. But it is so sad. They contributed to the problem of Nigeria. I continue to tell everybody, a lot of people continue to abuse me.
Holy things in all of it. So, but then I joined the Bible college. I started fearing God. God also started using me in different dimensions. Yeah, I was preaching powerfully. I go for crusades until I applied for a church. I was given a congregation to pastor the first church in Abia State there where I started. That was 2010. I was preaching powerfully in the fear of God, So unfortunately, some of the things I started seeing within the Bible college environment started discouraging me. Then I was like, well, if actually these people, what I have in mind coming, wasn't actually what I was seeing. Pastors were getting involved in a lot of things and all of that. So actually, it looks like, okay, fine. I was afraid, like, God, if I do these things within this environment, God will kill me or something. So now I see these guys are doing it. I could also, be part of the game. So
and they didn't die. That's how they destroy people's spirits.
No, if they did not die now, I can also, join.
That is how they destroy a lot of people's
spirits. So
faith.
that was what happened. I knew I could preach Christ without being born again. I know I could preach. It's just about knowing how to preach. Those days in Hamilton, I noticed the art of preaching and interpreting the scriptures. They're called homiletics and hermeneutics. So you are taught, how you can preach, how you can interpret the scriptures and all that. So I learned all of those. Then I could preach. God was helping me as well. I was going around preaching, even in crusades. Even in the Bible college, I became the preaching coordinator for 2 times before I graduated. So, but I wasn't a born again. So I pastored the church as well, the first church, pastored the second church. Then in the second church I was pastoring was where I met this big man of God in the church, a very big one.
What is his name?
So I was like,
What is his name?
My name?
The name of the big man of God.
Oh, Reverend Udoyen. His name is Reverend Udoyen. He was the national secretary of that church. He was the second man in that church at that time. They rotated.
Okay.
They rotated. Okay. So right now another person is in that position. Then he has come down to another position. So he was like, okay. I started getting close to him because people saw him then as a god. So not everyone come close. So for me, I feel like I can assess him. I can go closer to him. I started getting closer. He wasn't actually getting interested, but I feel like, okay, this is a great man of God. I also need to be patient and follow him patiently and all that until he got interest. I got his interest when I used to import tablets, the Samsung tablets then, and then I was selling. So that was how I was also making money for myself. So when I told him, okay, I can import for him a tablet and he needed it. So that was how, we started getting closer. So he invited me to the office. I came, I went, then we talked. Then afterwards, I got the tablet for him. I didn't collect money. I told him just take it. So that was how we started getting close. Then he started getting close. So one of the days he came to the Bible college for a meeting. So he requested to see me. We met. So he was like, okay, where is my wife? I got married. I told him, okay, my wife. I brought my wife and then we met with him. So he talked, he prayed for us, and we all went our different ways. Then one day I was in the bank. Then he called me, say, hi, son. Those people, when they call you, feel like anything you are doing, you just leave it and rush. You must attend to these people. You must, like, anywhere, even if he's looking for a space in the toilet to take their calls. That level of that, will I call it idolatry or something? Like, you try to look at these people to be God. So I picked his call. He was like, oh, where is your wife? I said, my wife is not around. It's okay. Can I talk to her? I said, sure, Dad. I sent my wife's number immediately. And that was how this conversation with my wife started. Of which, those days, I recorded those conversations. I recorded them. But that was after he had attemptedly was like requesting me to let my wife visit. That his wife wants to meet with my wife. I didn't even know that his wife is not even with him, that his wife is doing another course differently in Ibadan, and he was in Uyo. So he was like, okay, I should, sometimes I would be surprised. He would send us gifts, 50,000 at that time, 40,000. Sometimes he will invite us in the church. He will invite me to his office, So that was happened. I didn't know he had been actually on my wife. So my wife is raised in a very decent background, and she's a born again. So my wife had resisted him and all that. So he was like asking me. I tell my wife to come, so that the wife can give us some things. So now that was on the note. I called my wife. I was like, "You go to your daddy wants to see you." She said she's not going. To me, my greatest enemy at that point was my wife, because to me, she doesn't want my progress. Why won't you go? This kind of elevated man of God is calling us, even the family. You don't want to go. My wife said, no, she's not going. So
did you ask her why?
I have been asking her why. She didn't want to tell me. Maybe she also doesn't want to spoil my relationship with the man too.
Okay.
Do you understand? So women are wise though. So she was like, she doesn't want to tell me. Until the pressure was too much on my side and I'm not understanding what is happening. This man is calling. He's telling you he wants you to come, and you don't want to come. You don't want to go. Now what's going on? So the pressure was too much and all of those stuff. Then until my wife saw the pressure I was giving her, then she told me this man has been asking her out.
Jesus.
I didn't believe that story. I was like, stop that nonsense. Are you really okay? You need deliverance or anything like that, there are people you can't believe they do a lot of things. So these three things you're talking about, other pastors so what they are doing and people are not believing. I've been there, I know what it is. So I looked at that man, he can't do anything like that. So my wife insisted, and then she insisted to convince me. She tried to convince me, but I didn't give attention to what she was saying. Then finally, I bought a phone. That time, this Techno M8 Phantom, that was the time it came out new. I bought for her one, I bought one for myself. Then I have to download automatic call recorder so that anytime they do their discussion, it can record. But I didn't tell my wife. So what I told my wife is that play along, feel like, okay, fine, you've accepted what he's saying. Let me hear, let me understand if actually is this man talking to you or other things and all that. I just need to understand. So play along like you've accepted him and let play along with him. So my wife accepted that and the man called, she played along. Okay, I've accepted. Well, the man was so happy. I was like, why? Thank God I've got a new catch. So my wife asked her, have you been getting catches and all that? So does it mean all these pastors who flocked around you, you've been sleeping with their wife? He said, no, it's not like that. All of those he tried to defend. But he said a lot of dirty things, like I never, like when I was listening to that conversation, I was still in doubt, like, could it be this man was hypnotized or something, or like what's going on? Because someone at his position and listening to the conversation, like I was like, this can't be possible, So the whole thing started like that. It was like that, and then I had a lot of recordings at that time. Then finally one day, and then my travel to Abuja, my transfer to Abuja was because he wanted my wife.
Listen,
so now he was telling my wife he was going to transfer me from Abia State, since my wife was still studying in the Bible college at that time. He was like, okay, I'm going to transfer your husband to Abuja, another church in Abuja. So since now we are together, once he's there doing ministry, now we can have our time together, you see. So I got my appointment, transfer later. I was transferred to one of the big churches in Abuja then. So I traveled, I went there, was serving. Then his anger came when I actually dismissed my wife. My wife was in third year in the Bible college too. So I have to transfer her from that Bible college to Ekwa in Abuja. It's like, okay, since we are going to transfer, you don't have to stay here. So now that was where our issues started. I became his worst enemy. My wife, we became his enemies and all that. And he had already transferred us. So now the reason why he did that transfer, he wasn't getting it. So he became angry, but though pretending to be nice. So that was where our problem started with him. Then until 2014, then one day I confronted him. I told him that I really know what you've been doing, but I didn't expect these things from you. And even you have to transfer me so that means all these big pastors you are transferring, posting, you have access to their wives or something. I don't understand. So,
Christian, open your eyes so that we can learn. It's not for anything. I want every one of us to pick something out of this story. It's a true life story with evidence. I'm still going to show you everything. So help me to share it. You see, when you see all these big men with big title,
then recorded all those voice recordings. Then he listened to it. He started calling me back, and he was crying. He was begging, and I even recorded at that time. Even those crying and begging, he was at that time. So that was where the whole thing started, and then I didn't know how he was manipulating through the church as well, and through the superintendency. I started having some challenges, So at that time, another thing that happened why I resigned completely was I forgave him. Then he was like, okay, if you've forgiven me, there is one request I need to make from you.
Listen to this
so
place.
I was like, Okay, tell me about it. Then he told me he needed me to get for him a spy pen recorder. This pen that records, that has camera too. Mm-hmm. So I told him, okay, fine, I will order for you from China the way I usually do. Then he told me, okay. Then after like one day he called me, no, I should not order. I should, there is a place he has seen in Lagos, if I can get for him from there. I said, okay, since you know the place, let them bring for you Nuyo while I pay them from Abuja. He said, no, since this thing is something that is reconciling both of us together like father and son, he wants me to give him hand to hand. Then I told him, okay, no problem. Then I ordered. Then after like 2 days, a lady called me. Her name was Grace Ehigwese from Edo State. She stayed in Abuja at that time. So there was a hotel she invited me. I've forgotten the name of the hotel. Told me I come to that hotel in Wuse too. That she's there. I should come with my. I should come. That my orders have arrived. I thought I cannot come to a hotel. I'm pastoring over 2,000 members, which I don't know where they work differently. So being a pastor and a young person, anybody can see me coming out of the hotel with a lady. The story won't be the way it is. So possibly you bring it to my office. She said, no, she's not coming to my office. I should come. So that stuff made me so reluctant. I didn't even bother going back to collect that spy pen recorder again. I left it with her. Until like after 2 weeks, that man now called me again. Hey son, me, I'm coming to Abuja this weekend. You see, you get that pen recorder, all of those stuff. So that started making me to call the lady. I called that lady again. Then she directed me where to go in Guarimpa to go see her. I went. She was making her hair. Then I was like, so you give me the stuff I paid. She said, oh, she didn't come with it. Let her finish blow drying her hair, then we'll go to where the stuff is. I said, okay. I waited for some time. Then she finished and we went. Then the place we went, I didn't know it was her place. It was a little compound. Then it was like two apartments, but kind of a room self-contained, two. So she was like, I should come in. I told her I can't come in. You just get me the stuff, I pay you, I go. Then she was like, okay, I should come in. I said, I can't come, you're a school lady. And then you are staying in one bedroom, a kind of self-contained. I can't come in. Get me the stuff, I pay you and go. Then she brought it. And I gave her the money, 10,000. And then I left. I didn't go far. I didn't even go far. Then she started calling me, oh, you are a thief. I was like, Kwani, do you know who you're talking to? He said, shut up, fake pastor, fool, idiot. And I was like, abusing me. I was like, what's going on? Then I just ignored it. I left. When I got back to the station, I told my wife what has happened. You have to search me. I didn't know what this lady was talking about. I've collected the recorder. Then after I collected, I called the pastor. I used coming. He said, no, he's not coming this weekend again. You understand? He has achieved what he had wanted. Now he said he's not coming this weekend again. I said, okay. He told me he was going to be in a church called United Evangelical Church in Umbopa, Calabar. Number 12 Umbopa Road in Calabar. There was another pastor who was doing a kind of induction. He was ordained a reverend minister, so he was doing an induction. He said he was going to be there. And I know that pastor is very close to me. I told him, okay, I'm coming there too. Then I will give it to you. He said, okay. I traveled on a Thursday. I took flights to Uber. So it was on Sunday. So because the stuff has to, the induction, the guy fixed another program. So it was on Saturday or Friday, my wife was calling me on a video call, was like, can you see what is happening? That same lady who didn't know my church, my address or whatever, was in the church. Shouting, people gathered, on a Saturdays like this, different people come from the houses, praise team, elder sessions and all of those stuff. The church was even half full feed. Then the lady was shouting. I tried to rape her, but I for people gathered, like it was a drama. Like now, the first question I asked, this same lady who says she doesn't want to come to my station, she doesn't know the place. Even when I wanted to direct her, she said she can't come. How did she even come to the church exactly, like the address? Like all of those stuff, I became uncomfortable. The church, my phone was so busy. Then I have to take a night bus to return to church on Sunday so that I will know what has happened. So by the time I got there, everybody was like looking at me. The elders refused me to talk to the congregation. They told me, now you have to be, you have to wait. We figured out the situation. This lady, I am back. Call her to come back. She was not coming back. Allow me to explain to the congregation. The church leadership refused. I am not allowed. I can't preach. I can't talk to the congregation. All of those. Like each Sunday, I sit back on that seat. Like people are looking at me since I was not allowed to talk. Possibly that's what I've done. You understand? So the situation was like that. Until one of the Sundays, I think I took the microphone before the person who was going to preach was going there. I just rushed, took the microphone from the deacon. So the congregation was like, wow, they were waiting for me to talk. People were like shouting, taking their phones to video me. That kind of happiness in the eyes of many people. So I was filled with anger, by the way. So I told them, the only thing I just have to say is that I am no longer a member or even a United Evangelical Church ever. So I've already sent my resignation letter to the office of the pastor, of the so-called secretary.
The same man.
So, yeah, the same man. He's the secretary. So I've already sent him my resignation to his office and told him, yeah, that Sunday where I declared on the church unto I don't want pastor anymore. So a lot of pastors under him, those he have been transferring, they were like, oh, how can you raise a voice against this kind of anointed man of God? A lot of pastors started cursing me, you will die, God will punish you, you are an ingrate. This man lifted you from this place, posted you to a very high church, and this is how you want to, respect people. A lot of pastors, many I thought were my friends, actually became my worst enemies because for one or two reasons or whatever benefit they're getting from the man, I became an enemy. So I was like, okay, if this is actually what is happening in the church, it is even better to just go out there in the world and do your stuff. Do your stuff and between gospel and yet behind you are even far from God. Secondly, I wasn't even born again like I told you. Based on the experiences I've gone through, went through the Bible colleges, even when I was married, I wasn't even a faithful husband. Sometimes we could go for programs there, we preach, we take numbers for ladies, we come back to the church, we still take flight to go back there to meet those ladies, even some group of pastor friends and all that. Many of them.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? That pastors, they will go and preach, get number from ladies, they still go back. Did you hear that? Oh my God, my people. This God is not a liar, he's a true God. Did you see the manipulation? Did you guys realize that pastor, that big supposedly man of God, his life? May you never encounter them. You see, look at the way they plant. You see, so many of these pastors, they have no forgiving spirits. Immediately you fall out of favor from them like this, wahala don start. Even all the evil that will happen in your life that you think is because of your sin, they will program it into your life. It will make it look as if that you are God, you have offended God. That is why God is punishing you. Wake up, people. United Evangelical Mission. How many of you don't know this church? Those of you from the east, do you know anything like United Evangelical Mission Church? We need to know that all this thing is true. You will hear some.
So all these things were happening, and then finally I came to myself as like, okay, if you are serving God, the good life you're not even enjoying, and you're even hiding to do all of these things, is it not better you just go into the world and So when I resigned, I traveled. I traveled to Kenya. That was my first time. I traveled. I came with my wife.
Okay, you came with your wife.
Kenya. Yeah, I left with my wife to Nairobi, Kenya. That was my first time. I came here 2015. So after that, we stayed here. Life became so difficult. It was so miserable. And I traveled back to Nigeria. At least I could see a better life. So I got some money again in Nigeria. I came back to Kenya because my wife was very pregnant at that time, very heavy. So things became so hard, so difficult. And, that was when it kind of, I started seeing, watching all of those celebrities, their flashy life, all of those. I was like, God, I think I just need to be here. So that was when the desire to make money, like I just needed to be very rich, came.
Thank you.
It consumed me. That desperation, that desire, it consumed me. I felt like if I don't make money, I make it by all means, you see. So that was how I came across a certain guy on Facebook. His name is Demon and all that. But then he started telling me about some occult who give money and all of those stuff. But then I was unable. I was like, I can't make up my mind. I can't go to occult right now. Seeing all those things in the movie and all that, I can't do. So life became more miserable for me. Miserable until I just have to make up my mind. I was like, okay. Then when I made up my mind, I started looking for Illuminati, line and all that. And finally, I got their official website. And then from there, I got to their email. From there, we started talking. Then finally, they were like, okay. They made me order for their book of authority. They call it Illuminatium. Mm-hmm. So I ordered for it and got it. From there, they examined me and all that. So finally, they told me, okay, I have to be patient. But the time they will call me, they don't know. But for now, they can't tell me any specific date. But I just have to be on that.
So they are waiting. Call me. I would like to buttress what that brother said. Maybe that brother was the one that looked for Illuminati themselves. Illuminati themselves, they came to me. You see, there's nothing I've not seen. No. Me, Maureen, there's nothing I've not seen on this cyberspace. And all these things that they are talking, Illuminati, ritual, occult, all these things, they are real. There's nothing they have not done. Illuminati, they contacted me, my bounty is ready. I cursed their generation unborn. I insulted them. Which bounty? Did I apply for anything? So which kind of year harvest? After that one, they called themselves queen. They made themselves queen of rubbish. They brought another one. As stupid as they are, they told me your initiation is clinical on so and so date. You have to do this one. You have to do this one. One cat will bring a necklace gold to you around 1 a.m. Make sure you take it. Don't be scared. Pick it from the cat and put it on. I curse their generation unborn. There's nothing they've not tried. There is nothing. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. I have all so many things. Queen of this, queen of that. So all these things, Illuminati is real. If you are just hearing it, so many things. You see all these pastors, they've done all sort of. This one, I'm saying it for everybody to hear. That's why I stop. For you to know it's real. Illuminati is real. Most of your pastors, they are Illuminati members. It's not only one group they are. They are in different shrine, different occultic group, because they are looking for power, because they are hungry for power. They will be telling you, if you want the whole world to know you, they deceive you into so many things. And if you don't know the God that you are serving, you will fall. Most especially if you are greedy, you want to be rich by fire, by force, you want to make it fast, you will fall. Because I've looked at it, the only person that can make you rich at your appointed is only God. All these things that they are doing is temporary. Look at the way their yeye is everywhere. Look at the way Suleiman, look at the way his life is scattered online. What is the essence of all these things that they gather and they are disgraced globally? May we not see this type of riches and this type of... If you want to go on the fast lane like Suleiman and all of them, what is the essence of all this their fame? I'm asking everybody now. The fame that is full of lies and disgrace, the glory that is fake, whoever that envy what they have, that person does not understand who he is in Christ. If you know who you are in Christ, if you know exactly who you are, nothing like all these things. These are carnal things.
I waited. They've not even given me any specific place where their office is or their altar where I can go look for them, you see. So I was like, are you sure these people are going to call me or not? So I waited, they did not. So I started looking again online. That was where I saw contact for these people in a city.
Where?
Aboringin Boni fraternity.
Where?
I got their contact. Aboringin or Boni fraternity.
Okay, Aborigine.
They are in Imesile, Osun State.
Imesile?
Okay.
Yeah, so that was where I got the contact online. I started talking with them. They were like, okay, you have to come down to Nigeria, get some money, we'll initiate you, and all that stuff. So I said, okay, fine. My wife had given birth. Okay, no, my wife hadn't given birth when I went for the first visit. That was on November. So I traveled. My wife was to give birth by January. So I traveled by November 2015. I met with them. I arrived, I think, 12 midnight. They picked me and all that.
They beat you?
They picked me up from a certain roundabout in that same city because they were directing me from the airport.
Okay.
So I landed there. I got there 12 midnight and then got to their coven and all that in Imesile there. So they told me, okay, I have to wait until morning. The experience was very horrible and all that. And finally, they needed to buy some few things for the initiation and all that. I brought the money that I had. So they bought the things they needed for the initiation, which they did. Then after the initiation, then I was like, now waiting now. What again? The money asked. That's the part I was just waiting patiently for. So they told me to wait. They have to observe me first before any other thing. I said, okay. So I was already staying too long in that place. I needed to go back to see my wife. So for them over there in Kenya, life was so hard. And I know I have only come here, I get the money, I go over and take care of them, all of those stuff. So it was very hard. That time, December, I was frustrated, 2015. Then they were not coming out with anything positive. I said, okay, fine. January 10th, my son was born. And I knew I could not continue staying there. The little money I was able to raise in Nigeria, I sent for my wife at least to pay the hospital bill, pay the house rent and all that. I told her I'm coming. So the whole thing continued to linger. Then I booked my flight and went back to Kenya. That was
so you mean you stayed from November to that January? They didn't give nothing come out of the abroad.
From November to January, I was struggling. So
you still stayed there in Mesile?
So I was waiting patiently. Now on January, my son was. I have to travel. I go to see my wife and all of those stuff. So when I got there, I went back to Kenya. I stayed. Life was not also pleasant the way I want. So I felt like, okay, now finally the president for the Oboni people called me and told me, okay, if I can come, then they will see what to do for me. So I had gotten some money and some other friends there who gave me something. I have to get back to Nigeria. I had my return ticket already. So I used it. I came back. I went to their shrine there at Imesile. So that was where they were requesting from me to make some human sacrifices. I told the man no. I wasn't told I was going to kill anybody, and I haven't killed before, and I cannot kill anybody because of money. They were requesting from my wife. I said, no, my wife has been very innocent all this while, so I can't even imagine myself killing her from my son was newly born. How could I have done that? So like every option they gave me, I declined in all of them, in as much as it involved killing anybody. I declined. I wasn't gonna kill anybody because of money, and moreover, I wasn't ready for that aspect of killing, because that wasn't what they told me initially. When I started talking to them. So now they are involving killing a human being. I told them no, I can't. So at the point, okay, I was like suggesting to them, okay, why not give me the money, and then if you want someone to kill, did you take my life, then maybe give me a little time to enjoy the money, maybe 5 years, 2 years, whatever. But to bring another life to my mess wasn't what I wasn't ready for at that time, So they told me there was nothing again they could do. Then that was when I remembered that same guy on Facebook who I started talking to. So I have to dash into my Facebook and started chatting him up.
The Illuminati guy.
His number, I called him.
The Illuminati guy.
The guy wasn't even Illuminati. He was telling me about a different occult altogether.
Okay.
Understand? So that was now when I remembered him. Now I have to let me check his phone. Then
you see that they lure you into it. Most of these people that find themselves in this occult and ritual thing, some of them did not plan for it. Like my own, assuming that I am that kind crazy for words, by now I for don't enter. You see, desperation is another problem. Because when you enter, there are so many things they did not bargain for. They will not tell them the real cocoa. They won't tell them the major thing. You can see they make sure that he has invested his time, he has invested his money, they've prepared his mind. So the final one is the human sacrifice. But when they lure him into it, they will not tell you about the human sacrifice part of it. So many people, some people use their wives, some people use their children. What you are listening to today, it is not a joke. You have to be there to understand how they roll. It's because, God will open our spiritual eyes. You see, you hear this one, sleep with this one, sleep with this. You know how many people these people they use for ritual? You are seeing the one that they are sleeping with using their glory. What about the people they kill? I'll try killing. What about the one that I'll try killing? What about the one they go and kidnap children and they use them? Kidnap adults and they use them. They use somebody that is closer to them. They offer them for sacrifice.
I called him. I chatted him to give me his number. He gave me his number. I told him I was in Nigeria. Then I called him. He directed me a place they call Akeze in Ebonyi State.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, let me go that place. So when I got to that case, he gave me the number for the chief priest. He's a chief priest for the river goddess there. So I met with the man. I stayed in one quack hotel like that. I stayed there. The next day I went to meet with the man and we talked. Then he told me, okay, they can give me some spiritual loan. Then after we had discussed.
Spiritual
Then the
load.
next day was when he bought all the materials he needed. We went to the ocean. That was where we had the encounter with the river goddess who came. It was like I didn't know whether it was a kind of ecstasy or something, but we talked. The woman, the river goddess, was like telling me I have a future, that she can see that I'm a very great person, but I am just being impatient. If I could just wait. Then that desperation couldn't even let me wait. I was like, I can't wait. I've gone so far now to come back to talk about waiting. Situation was very hard. I just need the money. Then she was like, okay, they will give me
A spiritual
a loan. Yeah, they will give me money. After 6 months, I return the money. I can put that money to any business of my choice. After 6 I return. And they told me I go home, think about it for 7 days, then I come back. So I said, okay, then I left back to the hotel. So when I was thinking through that, I can't actually say it was God, the Spirit of God, because at that point I don't even know whether the Spirit of God was still with me or that I've gone very far, So I was in that process. I didn't know what to do. My spirit told me that if I take that money will finish in my hands. Like I won't even know what I've done with it. Then the same human sacrifice I have been avoiding in the other place, they will even have to take it without telling me.
Because you've already have a.
So I have to call the chief priest and tell. I told chief priest. I told him this is what my mind is telling me. He said, yes, that is the real thing. I can't deceive you as a son. I think you are very young. I was 27 years then. It will cost you. It will cost you. So that was what he told me. But if you make up your mind, it's okay. Then I decided like I wasn't going to continue again, that part. But still, I still want that money, but I didn't want to kill anybody. You see, that desperation was still there, and the situation on the other side with my wife and my son was very bad. Now, on this side, I know I need the money, but I don't want to kill anybody. So that was the story. And then finally, I was told about another one in Edo State. Then they called the crocodile. So those people I've spoken to one of them who somebody introduced me to. Then they told me they can give me the money, but it will be like they will get a car. These things they act in the movie. They will get a chicken. If the chicken maybe eats my maize, maybe 3, then I know I have 3 years to eat the money, 5 years, a lot of those stuff. So I was like ready for that one, even if it's 1 year, no problem. That desperation was so high, it blocked my senses of reasoning. So I was on the way going actually when I got involved in a very fatal accident. Sister Maureen, in that accident, the issue wasn't that I had an accident, by the way. The issue here is, in that accident, we have people going for adoration. Then the person who me to that place is in Enugu, is a lady. So she has booked a hotel where we are going to do our knacking that night. Then from knacking, I'm going to initiation and then Saturday. Friday 15th of April. Our thing, then you can take me to the man in Edo State. Then you come back. So she was already waiting for me in a hotel. Then we were in the bus. We were almost in Enugu. There are 4 corners. The place they call 4 corners in Enugu. Then I called her the last one. I called her. Told her, okay, we are in Enugu now in 4 corners. In the next 20-30 minutes, I will join you in the hotel. She gave me the name of the hotel where she was, which I can't remember. It has been long. So people in the bus were some other youth who were talking about these Christian youth who they were for Christian program. They even prayed in the bus, prayed, we are singing. The other lady was going to adoration camp and other people were going to adoration. So for me, I was the only person who was going for occultic issues and even a woman waiting for me in the hotel. Of which, if I had died that night, there was no negotiation for me going to hell. You understand? So there was no negotiation. I was straight to hell, seriously. So that was what happened. That accident happened. It was fatal. It happened around 10
King of Kings
that Friday night, and I was bleeding.
and the Lord of Lords.
Until we were 4 that survived, and the others later died in the hospital. We were 4. The other people died. We were like 12 passengers. Then husband and wife alighted in a certain junction called Isiago or something before the scene of the accident. So others died at the spot. 4 of us survived. Some were not attended to in the hospital. They died, and God sent me alone. It was hell. By the way, the experience of that accident was hell. I lost one eye. Even as I talk to you right now, I am not seeing clearly. The other remaining eye, gone through surgeries and all that, but then I accept it in as much as I have the life to tell what has happened. You know, also a lot of people who are out there who feel like they can also do all of these things. You know, I feel like I could, my story, I could let people understand and see that, you know, being faithful.
So how did you, after the accident, you stay how many months in the hospital?
Yeah, I stayed a lot. I stayed so many weeks. Okay, my suffering actually started after the accident. I suffered. I was shattered. My wife was like, I told her, okay, sell all the house properties we have there in Kenya. Just make sure you just come back to Nigeria, because at this point there is nothing I'm gonna do. I am not even seeing like this as I talk to you. I'm blind. I was blind. I was completely blind for 7 months. Complete 7 months. I was taken to the toilet. I was taking anything I want to do out there. My mouth was cased. For the issue of the accident, it was terrible. Understand? But God really saved me. You know, now some of those pastors were like, hey, God is punishing him now. But they didn't know the story behind the accident.
Oh my God.
God is really punishing him for trying to step on the toes of the God's anointed. They didn't know the story of the accident. Now, God was actually saving me, because possibly that one in Edo State could have worked to what I had wanted.
Maybe you just speak to maybe 2 years.
Yeah. So, God has to stop it with that accident.
The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Savior of my life. The same life you saved, I have brought as a sacrifice unto you, Lord Jesus.
Father, Lord.
Thank you, Jesus. Sacrifice my life, my all to you. You brought it back to me again. I was lonely and darkness. You brought your light. The sin my angels come. You proved them wrong. Lord, I sacrifice my life, my all to you. Lord, I sacrifice, yeah.
Sacrifice my life, my all to you.
Yes, Father, Lord.
I sacrifice my life, my all to you.
Oh, I sacrifice.
My people, he is the one singing there. He is the one singing. Make una hear.
Laugh at me in my face, like face to face. People mock me. See, in a situation where people can mock you, where you cannot even lift your leg to take another step forward. I faced that kind of mockery, and in the process, the only source I had was mother.
Breaking.
Source I had at that time was my mother.
Oh, your
was
mother.
my mother.
Okay.
So she was able to career. My mother, she could look around. You know, anything, anybody can reach your. You won't abandon your own blood. So my mom was there. Don't worry, it will be fine again. Some of the nights I could wake up and see my mom crying at my feet. When I go, people are laughing. I had a lot of problems. I begged on the street of Lagos. After some time, and all that. I went to Lagos. By then, I could walk. So there was not clearly, even till now, I'm not seeing clearly. But at least I could walk around after I did the first surgery. So I could walk around. But I can't see clearly. I can't see anyone from a distance. So the tongue was very bad for me. It was very bad. I was begging in the street of Lagos, a place called Akute. Akute from beggar there. I was rejected. I begged people to sleep in the houses nobody wants. I sleep in the house and all. So the situation was very rough. I begged until sometime I got favor from a friend of my sister in Malaysia. He gave me like 3 million. I was like, okay, let me at least get another. And that 3 million was gone. I got scammed by a brother in the village who was telling me about this thing for Nigeria. Yeah. It was winning, and all of those stuff. So I have to put the money in that. Maybe I can pay that guy more to myself, and I was scammed with that money.
So she loaned you 3 million then?
I can. He loaned me that. I don't talk to that because to him I can't.
Father Lord.
Like, leave this story, we know things. How can you forget this thing? You are just idiots, you just collected that money from me. Me, I'm telling him, see the situation. Even the guy, we have to arrest the guy, took the guy to the police station. The guy, the father, they wrote an undertaking. I even sent him the undertaking, which they wrote to give us 1.5 million. I think on 8th of June 2018, when that thing happened. You see, but the guy didn't believe anything. Then that guy and the father went back to the police. They gave police nothing and they were released. This time we come for the case. They are telling us the guys have not come. You see, we knew they have sorted the police. So there was nothing I could do on that case again. I got more stranded and more frustrated. So from there, God really gave me favor through my younger brother. That was how I traveled. I came to Kenya. I started doing 1 or 2 things in Boston.
Where was your wife? Where was your wife in all this and your son?
In all of those, my wife was still breastfeeding, was with my child. Then they were in the village.
Okay, she came back.
At that time. Now she had to come back to Nigeria.
Okay.
Because there was no other option. Okay. So she has to sell it. Even the family on the other end contributed for her. Came back to Nigeria, my son. So went back to the village, life was miserable. So while all these things were happening, my mom took my wife, stay in the village here, so while we see a way to, while your husband come up again, that kind of thing. So while she was with my mom in the village, my mom died. Life became more miserable. I thought, okay, there is no other person you can do. You go back to your mother, stay in your mother's house. Well, I tried to get myself, you see. Then I went to Lagos and all of that stuff. That was after I was scammed that money. So I lost that contact of that friend in Malaysia because he never believed I was scammed. He believed I took the money from him. Even till today, he talk to me. So that has been my situation then until I kept pushing, kept trusting God until now things actually has got
How did you now get back to Kenya? That is what I want to know.
Yeah, my younger brother traveled to Philippines. My younger brother.
Okay.
So I started to move him before the accident. Understand? Then finally he got admission to study marine transportation and business management there. So he started doing well. He finished. He married a Filipino. He owned his business. So I told him, okay, it's time for you to reciprocate to me the favor that I did for you. So from there he gave me ₦1 million. So I felt like if I stay in Nigeria with this 1 million, and even at that time I was squatting in a friend's house. So let me travel. I can get a few things in Nigeria here, then I can go sell in Kenya. So that was how I traveled to Kenya in the first place. That was in 2019. So
God, you were able to come back to Kenya with your wife and your son. Praise the Lord.
no, my family is not in Kenya with me now because I just needed to be stable before I come for them. Now they're in Lagos, but they're comfortable. I paid for them a place in Lagos where they're staying for now. So what I'm planning by next year, I want to move my family to the UK. So my son can stay there and have a very good environment for the future, So I'm planning.
So are you into ministry fully now? What are you doing at the moment?
Okay, now I do ministry, like I singing in church.
Oh, you can sing.
I also yeah. Though not a perfect one. I'm actually do another one.
Jesus, I give you my life, my everything. Jesus, I sacrifice my life, my all to you. Oh, sacrifice.
My life, my all to you.
Oh, sacrifice my life, my all to you. Oh, sacrifice my life, my all to you. Oh, sacrifice my life, my all to you. I could have been dead and gone, but grace saved me. I could have been burning in hell, Lord, you say no. And I missed my way to you. You brought me back. Oh, I sacrifice my life, my all to you. And I lost my life. You brought it back to me again. And I was lonely in darkness. You brought your light. They say my end has come. You proved them wrong. That's why I sacrifice my life, my all to you. Lord, I sacrifice your
That is one of his music. He is the one singing there.
The Lord will continue to uphold you. The Lord will continue to enlarge your cause. I know that God has spared your life for a reason like this, for a purpose like this, for a day like this. I continue to tell a lot of people that this ritual thing, this pastor manipulation and everything, you see, I'm able to relate very well with your story because I know how they perform all these their if satanic acts. And when little thing happens to you, they will think, hey, because you did this to this pastor, that is why this thing is happening to you. Some of it they will work, they will manipulate it. They will program it into your life. I'm happy you are alive to tell the story.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
All glory be to God. Please continue to hold on to God. Continue to hold on to the author and the finisher of your faith. He's real. God is real. Oh.
Yeah, God is very real.
Yeah.
God is very real. I've seen God work for me.
Yes.
So He's very
You
real.
can imagine when you see the Ebonyi own, because that the river goddess came out.
Yeah.
You were on top of the river, right?
Yeah, we were out there at the sketch when she came. It was just like, I can't even explain it was just like it was in a kind of ecstasy, when she came. Then it's like when she talks, I could hear her voice from deep down inside.
Yeah.
It was a kind of ecstasy or something. It's not like we were just meeting face to face. I don't know how to explain this. You see, it looks like the whole of that ocean, like she was just on the surface of that river.
It will look as if something is you see, fear will grip you.
Fear, I couldn't even. I was shaking. I was shaking like it wasn't easy, But the man was used to the whole thing. He was used to it. So, like, it looks like her image is just like covering the whole of that river. You see, like she was just like on the surface of that river like that. You see, I can't really explain how that experience is, but she came. We had her talk. And then I could also talk. For me, I could not talk to her directly. I was somehow scared. I was shaking. So I could talk to that man. The man would also talk and all that. Then, but whatever the goddess was saying, I was hearing. You understand?
Say you are impatient.
It wasn't a very easy experience, by the way, but thank God I didn't finally succeed in getting anything from that area. And even a whole lot of things, even in those side of Oboni, a whole lot of things they do. They do all of this spiritual cleansing where they will tell you, okay, they will like, you buy something for any lady of your choice, they will give you something you shower with. Then when you shower, you just go sleep with the lady, just make her happy, give her anything. So you give her, you sleep with that person. Then in the other way, they try to use the person's destiny for your spiritual cleansing. They call it spiritual cleansing and all of those stuff. Yeah. So those ones they really do. And even there in Oboni, a lot of pastors were there. They tell me they even go bury cows for some pastors and their churches. They do a whole lot of things. But the only thing is just that I didn't witness any general meeting where all of these people come, even the pastors they were talking about, I didn't witness that.
Because you are not part of them fully. Illuminati thing is real. There's nothing Illuminati has not done.
They are real. They are very real. But it was after all this whole thing, they later sent me email. But that was at the time I was already in the hospital.
What is the email?
They gave me a certain location in Nairobi, a place they call Serena Hotel. They were telling me I wait for them, therefore I will be picked. They will pick me up. But then I didn't reply because I was already in the hospital. I was already, so I couldn't.
You are in Nigeria or in the hospital bed. How are you going to be in Kenya?
So if I had not traveled to Nigeria at that time, I could have also been Jamaica.
Yes. Because they want to test your level of patience. That was what they did for you. Because the Illuminati see that you are not patient. That's why they want to test your level of patience. That is what they did. There's no other way apart from God. And when God is ready to open way for you, none of these people can shut it.
Yeah, God can lift a man from anywhere, from any corner.
It's because our impatience because of our impatience that is causing majority of all these things. And somebody who is destined to be great and be rich, no matter what, it will still happen.
It's true.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you very much.
I will share your story with others, and after sharing your story, I'll bring you on the platform. So continue to be strong in the Lord. Continue to be strong in the Lord. continue. Thank you for sharing
Thank
your
you very much.
experience.